Hello, I'm Tiffany Parks, and this is A Bittersweet Moment with Katy Sewell.
Hello, this is The Bittersweet Life. I'm Katy Sewell, and we are back after our August hiatus. New episodes are beginning next Monday. New traditional episodes. Obviously, today is going to be a new episode as well. But today's episode is a little bit out of the character of our normal show. It has been 20 years since Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. Hard to believe that it's been that long, but it was indeed 20 years ago on August 29th. And I didn't want the 20th anniversary to pass us by without noting it in some way. Back when the storm happened, I was working for National Public Radio in Seattle, and I still remember that whole storm so vividly that that's why I have trouble believing that it's been 20 years. I can recall sitting on my couch, living in my rental apartment, my dog still alive, sitting by my side, although he would die in the next couple months. And I remember sitting on that couch for days watching footage, not only of the storm when it came in, but of all the suffering that was happening to the residents of New Orleans, especially those who were not able to get out of the city for whatever reason, be it a lack of transportation or health or means. And I watched all that footage and just cried and cried and cried. So since I worked for NPR, 2 years after the storm, when people were starting to forget what had happened, but certainly the needs of the residents in New Orleans were still present, I created a montage of the storm to remember it. The storm rebuilt as it happened. The audio file's name is The Storm Remade. And I want to play that for you today as a way of remembering all that happened 20 years later. Now, many of the people that you will hear, I no longer remember where I found their stories when I was putting this piece of tape together. But I have to say, I have absolutely never forgotten their voices, nor the dismay in many of them, nor the pain. Sometimes, and maybe we've talked about this on the show, when you're a radio person and you deal in audio tape, the way people say something echoes in your mind almost like it's a song that you remember. And that is certainly true with some of the people that you are about to hear. I'll just be walking along, on a, average sunny September day, and all of a sudden I will hear this voice in my head like it's a melody. This kind of tragedy always seems unlikely, and yet we know well from living on this earth that something tragic and unexpected can happen to any of us at any time. And the kind of systemic racism that we saw play out in the aftermath of Katrina is certainly not ancient history when it comes to the United States today. It is very much alive. And it's horrible, and sometimes, like we saw with Katrina, it is deadly too. So I hope you are moved, I guess, by this look back on the storm as it made landfall and the stories of what happened to people in the aftermath. And take a moment to remember. And then next week, we will be back as usual. And in fact, on Monday, we'll be exploring the term, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So until then, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for supporting the show while we were absent, taking a little break, and preparing ourselves for the Rome trip that's coming up in October. We really do appreciate your support. If you want to hear some of the amazingly fun bonus episodes that we did this summer, I encourage you to join us over on Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you can experience some pretty silly and fun conversations, not to mention coming up, some wild short questions that listeners had submitted, the most random questions we had collected, and the fun answers that they inspired. So you'll find links to that in the show notes. But for now, let us reflect on Katrina 20 years later with the storm remade.
1-bedroom house I live in, so it's probably going to be floating down the road by tomorrow.
Our Gulf Coast is getting hit and hit hard. In the meantime, American will pray. Pray for the health and safety of all our citizens.
That's a roof getting ready to come off of the hotel. That's the Hampton Inn. They're getting ready to lose their roof on the back side of the building.
Looks bad, Mark. I heard something go boom! My house broke in half. My mother's house is just disintegrated. It was a brick house. All the houses down there floated down the street.
Just before dawn, Katrina heads northwest, straight for the coast, down a hair from its 175-mile-per-hour peak. But still a ferocious Category 4, and New Orleans buckles in for a bumpy ride. The storm makes landfall at 6:10 local time.
It was incredible. The noise is what's scary.
The ceiling up there, water through the windows.
The storm surge has been much bigger than anything ever before. The results has been, in some cases, people being trapped.
My name is Robert Lynn Green Sr. from the Lower Ninth Ward. In the house that night was my mother, my brother, my cousin who's mentally challenged, and my 3 granddaughters. At 4 a.m., my brother woke us up and said, "Robert, we have water in the house." Then when we got in the attic, we situated everybody, because we have some flooring in there, where we could just sit around, and my brother kicked out the louver just so we could see outside. And he said, "Robert, the water's still rising, we got to go on the roof." Then he said, "The back of the house separated from the front of the house." Then he said, "The houses are moving." When we put my granddaughter Shanae on the roof, so I put her on the roof first, and when I turned my back to get her sister, she fell in and started screaming, "Jesus, Jesus." I realized I can't lose my composure, I can't lose my control of the situation, so I stopped screaming, put it behind me. The hurricane stops, my brother stands up and says, "Mama didn't make it." She didn't die early in the morning, she didn't die while the hurricane was passing the first wave in the eye, but between the second wave and 1 o'clock, she died. And my mother finally felt that she was dying. She told my brother that she was going to take care of Nene. So basically, she knew everybody else was okay. So she knew her was all right. She knew we were all right. She knew the other ones were all right. So she closed her eye and said she was going to take care of my granddaughter. When my granddaughter died, I knew when she fell in the water, she knew I was up there, and I wasn't there for her. My mama died, I just felt like I wasn't there for her. I felt like I'm the person that they depended on. I'm the person they knew would do better for them. And it was like I couldn't do nothing to help them.
Martin Savage is on the streets of New Orleans right now with the very latest on conditions there for us. Martin?
There's a lot of damage that is out here. It's littered all over the streets. There are a lot of trees that have come down. There are parts of buildings, especially the old brick buildings, that have collapsed onto the street. Some of the hotels, especially the Hyatt, have been shredded. All morning long, you could hear window after window just exploding. You could see the curtains, the drapery, and everything that was inside that hotel room being sucked out in the frenzy that was created by this hurricane.
Looks like a bomb went off downtown. Hurricane Katrina certainly arrived here with explosive power and not even as destructive as first predicted. Last night, when this storm was a monster Category 5, all eyes were on New Orleans. Then, a tiny last-minute turn to the right delivered a huge blow to the neighboring Mississippi coast. As of tonight, a state of emergency is in effect here in this state, in Mississippi and Alabama as well. Katrina could become the costliest single storm in U.S. history. with insurers already estimating as much as $25 billion in damage. And the human misery is just getting underway. Millions are without power, many without homes at all.
We already stressed out. And they don't came here and stole my TV. Stole my stuff. We don't have nothing. They took the little stuff that we did have.
What do I need? We need clothing, water, and food. They have several people died out here, and, you know, I don't want to become one of them.
Coast Guard rescuing people off of rooftops. This is happening live right now in New Orleans, Louisiana. As you've been watching this, the levee system in Louisiana and New Orleans was breached. It was believed earlier that perhaps parts of the French Quarter would be spared this, but those levees, which were put in place after Hurricane Camille to make sure the city would not be flooded, unfortunately, the strength of Katrina, which came on as a Category 4 storm, proved to be too much for the levees. And as you can see, so many people have had to climb to their rooftops. You've been hearing our reporters say that is the only way that many people have survived the wrath of Hurricane Katrina.
So this is someone who has been on that rooftop for how many hours, and in the middle of the night, not knowing what's going on with the water, the absolute terror, no electricity, probably completely pitch dark out there, rising waters, you're on a rooftop. I can't even imagine what a horrifying experience it has been.
Katrina may have moved on, but she's still causing trouble to hundreds of thousands of people in New Orleans who are either homeless or without power tonight.
People are dying inside the city of New Orleans today, and that city has descended further into chaos tonight. They feel forgotten, and the people inside the city of New Orleans are asking repeatedly today, the people in Washington, are you watching? Are you listening? 15,000 people in the city's convention center alone.
We haven't eaten in like 5 days.
How's a 3-week-old infant gonna be able to survive out here with no milk, no water?
No food, no water. I mean the bare necessities.
When we get nothing, it is wrong. We have no water. You could have dropped it from the sky from them helicopters.
Wardell Edwards rowed a boat to safety with 18 children from his housing project. Their mothers couldn't fit in the boat and stayed behind to wait for rescuers. That was 2 days ago. Today, still no sign of the women.
I love them. That's why I do all I can do for them.
It is all simply too much to comprehend, and in rare, quiet moments, too much for those still trying to save this city to handle.
Nobody's coming to get us. Nobody's coming to get us. The secretary has promised. Everybody's promised. They've had press conferences. I'm sick of the press conferences. For God's sakes, shut up and send us somebody.
I don't feel like I'm in America anymore.
Katrina exposed serious problems in our response capability at all levels of government. And to the extent that the federal government didn't fully do its job right, I take responsibility. I want to know what went right and what went wrong. I want to know how to better cooperate with state and local government to be able to answer that very question that you asked. Are we capable of dealing with a severe attack or another severe storm? And that's a very important question, and it's in our national interest that we find out exactly what went on and so that we can better respond.
There was a promise to do whatever it took, and I did not see that executed. They were aware of everything, that there was a significant risk to wherever the storm hit, that it was going to create some pretty devastating effects, that the Superdome roof was a question mark, that we would need lots of help, and that they needed to bring the Army and DHS involved in this effort. And it surprises me that if there was that kind of awareness, why was the response so slow?
It was so surreal. Reality hit that water can come over that levee. Water can fill up dry land, and it's coming after you. Better get ready to save your life.
And I'm going to be honest with you, I pray all the time. That was the most sincere prayer I ever said. And I said as an individual, I said, Lord, if you get me out of this one, I'll never stay again. And I feel like he answered my prayers. Because not long after that, got calm. The water started to recede a little bit. We felt like we were Gilligan, all on Gilligan's Isle. Yeah. And they come around, and they told us to get in the boat. Then we knew we were going to be all right. One of the deputies came and said, man, everybody going around and say you did, you didn't make it. You know, and because the one thing, the whole school, everybody know I never leave for a hurricane. I don't care how severe or not severe the next storm, the next evacuation, I'm leaving.
If you love the show, help spread the word to others by giving us a quick 5-star review wherever you listen. We love reading your comments and compliments. They are like fuel to the work. Thanks for taking the time.